Hi guys, Athena's here, and I'm going to read you a quote. I never saw a wild thing feel sorry for itself. A bird will fall frozen dead from a bough without ever having felt sorry for itself. D.H. Lawrence. And this kicks off a series of animal card readings. If you have been following me on Instagram, you know that I kind of do a weekly card to let you guys know about the animal medicine wisdom. A lot of this is deep from the native tribes. It's been thousands of years. It's a bit like a tarot reading, it's a divination reading, but it's from animal wisdom. And the reason I say that, I quoted this, an animal does not feel sorry for itself is because an animal lives by its nature. And they have strengths, they have weaknesses, and they have a lot to share with us and tell us. And let me know if you like these. I'd like to do them weekly for you. And here we go. Here's our first animal medicine totem reading. Thanks. So here we go, guys. I'm going to do our prayer. Only light and love and truth comes into this reading. Only love, light, and truth comes into this reading. What does the collective need to know right now? What do we need to know collectively right now? Only love, light, and truth come into this reading. Let's see what the cards have to say for us. This is for the week of March 15th through the 22nd. Let's see. Truth, light, and love, tell us. What does the collective need to know right now? Well, our past was the weasel, which is stealth. Here's the weasel. The weasel is a stealthy animal that can weave in and out of situations, kind of not be seen, can be behind enemy lines, observe everything, give a full report back, and no one's ever going to detect that the weasel was there. So sometimes you might have heard the term like, oh, well, he ratted us out, or he's a weasel. So that is kind of what this card represents. Is I think there was a lot of truther movement. There was a lot of information being shared with the collective. And everybody was doing that from the privacy of their own home. You weren't seen. You weren't out in a public forum physically. And so the only way they could get to you is possibly deplatform you or whatever. But the weasel, it represents that kind of being hidden and yet taking a good account of what is going on and giving a full report. And that was our past. That's what we did in the past. Our present is the skunk. And the skunk is our reputation. So right now, this is the present thing that we need to concentrate on. The skunk is looking at, are you impeccable with your word? What is your reputation like? Are you walking your talk? Are you, and if not, you will be outed with the card like this. So the skunk is watch out for your reputation. Who are you really? Is that what you are showing to the world? If you are to go after someone or you're to out somebody, be careful that your reputation isn't at stake also. So our reputations right now are important. There is a big effort to kind of weed through who is the real deal based on Weasel and all the reports that we got, and who is not. And so our reputation is everything right now. So make sure it's clean. This is a reminder that, and especially in this age where we put our stuff out there, make sure, like, is your reputation good or do you stink? This also deals with ego. If your ego is wrapped up in your reputation and it's a false ego, you might be outed that way. I mean, do you think too much of yourself? You don't back it up with any action or any real substance. Be careful about that. You know, the saying with this card is your ego is not your amigo. And I'm not talking about self-esteem. I'm talking about false ego. Maybe, you know, we think that we're in a position to tell others what to do, and yet our reputation stinks. And that's the thing about skunk. If you get too close to skunk, and he will give you a warning. I mean, you know, if you leave skunk be, he's not gonna spray and smell up the place. If you get too close to the skunk, he's gonna lift his tail and spray. So, I mean, he's renowned for that. We all know about skunk as far as, you know, reputation. And they do have a reputation for stinking up the place. But if you leave a skunk alone, they're not going to smell up the place. It's only when they're threatened. So just know that if your ego is not in place, you're not walking your talk, be careful. You will be outed, and your ego will not be your amigo, and it will stink. Our future is the mountain lion. Mountain lion is a place of leadership. So we've gotten our report, we've gathered our information, we've tried to help others, give them information. Now we have a reputation, walk your talk. If you're outing others, you better not be doing the same thing, kind of thing, or it will come out and you will smell. And then the next thing that we're moving into is places of leadership. Where can you lead? And if you're going to be a leader, you can't lead unless it's stuff that you're willing to do yourself. The worst leaders are people that want to lead people and boss them about and tell them what to do, and it's stuff they wouldn't be willing to do themselves. It's a bit of hypocrisy. So if you're going to be a leader, make sure it's stuff that you've already been through, you are willing to do that yourself, or you've done it yourself, and you're coming from a place of power that way. You're coming from a place of real knowing, real compassion, and you want to take your place as a leader. For light workers, we are being called upon to take a place of leadership. So make sure your reputation is in order. And I always go back to the 4 agreements, spiritual agreements. You know, be impeccable with your word, do your best. Look up the 4 agreements. Make sure you're within the 4 agreements. This weasel card is kind of like a Mercury card. If you were to deal with astrology or whatever, it gathers information and gives a report. This card is more of an earthy, if you're not walking your talk and people can see this happening. This isn't like in the ethereal. This is what you physically do on the daily and what you put out there. So be careful of that, because the next step is to lead you into a place of leadership. So if you're watching this video, you might be called upon to be a leader. We have a new world unfolding, a new way of doing things. Are you going to be a leader? And if you are, hypocritical leader, there's no room for that. So a leader is someone, like I said, willing to do whatever they're asking others to do. They'd be willing to do it for themselves. The energy that we're dealing with right now and the set of lessons is the owl, which is deception. This card, I would say, is more of a Neptunian card. This is very Piscean, maybe even like media, what we see out there in the paper and social media. Watch out for deception. Like I said, a report has been gathered. Watch your own reputation with that before you're telling others what to do. And watch out for the deception. We are being deceived. There are, like I said, 2 worlds happening simultaneously, and you have to decide kind of which one you're in. One is highly deceptive and one is not. You have to decide that for yourself. The lessons that we just completed is squirrel gathering. Kind of like the weasel gathers information, squirrel gathers resources. So to get to this place of leadership, which is our inspiration, our future, it has not unfolded yet. Did we gather everything that we needed to? That's information, resources, money. Did we put ourselves in a place of safety, security? Are we with the people that we need to be with so that we can take a place of leadership? Squirrel. We completed this lesson. Hopefully you completed this lesson. Watch out for the deception. It's going to be time to take a place of leadership. What we have going for us right now is the ant, patience. Wow, I'm really shocked to see that because as a collective, we tend to be so impatient. So the ant is patient. They work together in groups. This is a Uranus card. If you were to look at astrology, this is the collective. This is us working together. Have you ever looked at an ant farm or an ant hill? And they all work together. They all have their jobs and they don't really discuss it much. It just is. And they are patient. They will reach their goal. They don't hurry unnecessarily. They just kind of mechanically do what they got to do to get the job done. And they don't get impetuous or impatient with it. So that is what's working for us. I'm pleased to see that because, I mean, like I said, as a species, we tend to be impatient. We want everything now, right now. And I think after everything we've been through, cleansing ourselves of this past year and moving into this new world that we're entering, we're learning to be patient. We're learning to be patient with other people too, because really you can't take a place of leadership. You can't be impeccable in your reputation unless you're willing to be compassionate. There's two sides to everything that's going on. Each side is really embedded in what they believe, and we have to be patient. If we're impatient with, they don't believe what I believe, and this isn't going, and then we will attack, and nothing good comes of that. Be patient. Everybody will come around to working together once again. We were separated. It was kind of purposely done, and now let's be patient. That's working for us. I'm so pleased to see that. Sometimes you feel alone. You feel like you're the only one being patient, but this is a collective reading. It says we've moved into a place of being patient. We realize that things have deconstructed and they are reconstructing, and maybe we'll just go with it a little bit. Start to work together like an ant farm does, ant colony does. They work together towards common goals. What is working against us? Badger, aggressiveness, okay? The opposite of some of these cards. When I talk about compassion, seeing the other side, being patient, take a place of leadership. Don't ask people to do something you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. That's nonsense. You're not better than anyone else. Watch your reputation with that. You better walk your talk. Gathered all the information, right? Watch the deception. We've already gathered everything that we needed to. There's no more to gather. We're patient, and the thing working against us is aggressiveness. So I think that people that maybe are not in the flow, they're not really awakened spiritually, maybe aggressive. The media is aggressive. Sometimes our government is aggressive, and their reputation right now stinks to high heaven. Everybody agrees with that. That is common ground with Ant. We have a common ground that way. They smell. And so let's not be aggressive. That is working against us. And I think that, if I pull these cards on the contrary, which is considered a reversal in tarot, this might be that we are either too aggressive or we're not holding our ground enough, okay? So you have to decide that for yourself. But the badger, if you take a look at this guy, he's got some nails on him. I don't know, with the glare. Look at those nails. Ooh. I mean, take your eyeballs right out. So let's think about our aggressiveness with our speech and everything else, what we put out there. I think it's just a time to be patient, look at places of leadership and compassion, clean up your reputation, make sure you walk your talk. This is kind of the weekly lesson that we have. It changes every week, different cards every week. And I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, write to me. I'd love to talk to you more about this. And if you enjoy these, I will put them out weekly for you. It's just a good reminder, animal wisdom, their strengths, their weaknesses. We can learn so much from them. They live in nature and they don't care what's happening on the news. They live their life no matter what's being told to them. They just respond to their circumstances immediately and live their lives. They have a mission of creation, living, and then death, and that's basically all we are too. We're just maybe a little more conscious, a little bit further down the line, but they don't let all of those diversions and confusion get in their way. They just do what they need to do. Hopefully they gave you some good messages. Watch out for aggressive behavior. Watch out for being too meek and not standing your ground and letting other people mow over you, okay? If you're walking your talk, you're ready to take a place of leadership, you've been compassionate, you're looking at the whole picture, all of us as a collective, you may need to hold your ground. If you're too stuck in one idea and it's not inclusive for other people to have ideas, watch out. Too aggressive. And anything that's outside of us that's really aggressive, trying to drive an agenda or a point home, watch out for that. I mean, talk about bad reputation. We're seeing that all over the place with our leaders and everything else. And we're being asked we become the new leaders. And that could be very small in just your own community, your own household, just within yourself, what you put out there. You are a leader. If you're listening to this, you are a light worker. We're not as confused. We already collected information. We've gathered our resources, hopefully, and no reason to be aggressive, but definitely hold your ground. Be a leader. Be patient. That is working for us. Watch the deception. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. I'd love to do more of these for you, and I will see you next week.